Hey everybody, Roxabox90 here, continuing our full set review of Journey to Nyx with the red cards. And just to let you guys know, for those who are new to Limited in general, whatever it is, I have how to play Limited, Sealed, and Draft. I have videos to each of those put in the description of the video to help you get started. If you don't want to go to your pre-release, you don't really know anything about it, should give you a heads up about the formats and how they work. As well, I'll be doing a tactics video talking about just specifics of this environment and the pre-release Journey into Nyx environment and my tactics that I'm going to think about going into it. And maybe you guys can have your own comments as well. So we'll continue with the red with the Crowan Linebreaker, who I think is pretty nice actually as a heroic target because the Intimidate's the real biggie. The 2+0, it's not such a big deal, but a 4-1 with Intimidate can actually be pretty decent, and getting him off with some regularity, that's serious body swinging. Of course, it does take a little work as heroic. You would have to focus heroic, but I don't think it's a bad card at all. Very decent for curve, I think. Bearer of Heavens. This card I actually didn't get to talk about in spoilers. I think it'll be a lot of fun in EDH, which is the main place you'll see it play. I'm sure people will rage at him also. But what I like about it is that it's when he dies. So in EDH, if you exile him, you don't really have the issue. And so I don't think he'll be really broken at all. In Limited, he's pretty powerful, and in general he's pretty powerful. The fact is he destroys all permanents, but he has at the end step, which really kills Bestow. So that's pretty painful. And he's just huge body, huge, easily splashable. I'm sure he's going to see some play in Limited. If he's played by the losing player, the winning player is going to be in a bad spot, and if vice versa, the player who's facing it's still going to be in a bad spot. I think it's pretty awesome bomb. I really like it. I think it'll even matches up in Limited. Blade Tusk Boar, we've seen this guy before. This is new art though, and he's solid. Intimidate is almost unblockable a lot of the times, and he's reasonably statted for what he is. He's definitely done work before. I don't know in this format if he's quite as powerful as he was in the past in core set, but Intimidate is never bad, and he's okay. I really don't know how to judge him fully in this format. Maybe you guys can give some thoughts on that. Blinding Flare, it's Strive, which is cool, and it prevents blocking, so it's really a combat trick. Very cheap, very well costed. I think could definitely see a 1, maybe 2 of, probably a 1 of, more of a combat trick you keep in your hand to kind of finish off the game. Given also that there is hexproof going on, there is, but generally this card I think will do work. Cyclops of Eternal Fury, yes, it gives everything haste, which is great, but it's also a 5/3, which is, for 6 mana, really not the greatest body out there. Yeah, I don't love it, even with the haste, because by turn 6, does it really matter? The bombs you're playing most of the time, haste or not, they're huge bombs, so I don't think it's all that awesome. Dictated Twin Gods is one of the flash enchantments. This one deals double damage, which is going to be very risky, I think. I think it's going to be a fairly risky card. Of course, for aggressive strategies, good, yay, it helps you versus your opponent, but I think it's a bit risky a card to be dropping in Limited, personally. I think it'll see a lot more use in things like EDH Commander. Eidolon of the Great Revel is a mirror effect, so for players who, I really don't, it's awkward because it should be used aggressively, but it's whenever a player, which includes yourself. So if you're running an aggressive strategy, chances are you're playing cheap converted mana cost spells. And so he'll hurt you as much as your opponent, so I don't really know where he'll fit. He's clearly a solid aggressive card, and he's enchantment, so he works with Constellation, but he's awkward. I don't really know where to fit him in. Flame Speaker's Will, 1+1 for 1, and it can blow up an artifact. Alright. There aren't so many crazy artifacts going on, so I don't know how powerful it is, but yeah, it's not all that important, I think. Flurry of the Horns makes Minotaurs. If you're running Minotaurs, you get 2 Minotaurs with haste, with reasonable stats, and if you're running a Minotaur focused build, you have some of the lords and such, that could be pretty awesome, but otherwise I don't think it's all that great. Font of Ire, it's only to a player, which makes it, yes, it could be that final blow, you drop it early on, and then boom, they take 5 and it finishes them off. Could work that way. It's decent damage, but it also takes a bit of work to get going, and I think there are better spells going on here. Forgeborn Oreads, this is another one of the Constellation guys, which I'm never quite sure. The 4-2 stats, this is 4 mana though, but it is focused more on red, and it deals 1 damage for each Constellation, which you kind of wish it would stack up, that it would do a little more for a Constellation, but I guess that they realized it was just too powerful if they did that. But the 1 damage, over time, and of course it'll work. But I don't really... it's an okay card. I really find that 2 red makes it difficult to splash, and I don't know if the damage is so relevant. I don't really know. Gluttonous Cyclops, he's not all that great for a bomb. The 4 toughness is kind of blah for 6 mana, and the Monstrosity, yeah, you can do it the next turn, but it isn't necessarily, I mean, yeah, it makes him big, but that's what all he is big, dumb, nothing. And with the 4 toughness, he has to last. I don't love it. Harness of Force, it's going to be a win condition card. You use it, take your opponent's stuff to win the game. Knowledge of Power, I think, is a bit expensive for what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of scry going on, but it does cost 5 before anything starts happening. Seems like a lot of work. Lightning Diadem, same thing. It does shock and give 2/2, and works with Heroic, but it costs 6 mana. Very expensive. Magma Spray is kind of like Pillar of Flame, but instant speed and not as versatile. It's burn. It's burn removal against small things, which is not very rarely all that good. It doesn't hit a player, which I think is going to limit its life. Mogus Warhound, I like. It's a good bear that also has good bestow. I like it. Pensive Minotaur, boring Minotaur. If you're running Minotaurs and you need more, good. Otherwise, blah. Prophetic Flame Speaker, he's huge in limited, I think. I mean, in a heroic format, anywhere you have bestow and heroic stuff going on, enchantments, auras, this guy will be an absolute blowout, I think, most of the time. Riddle Lightning, big 5 mana removal. That's it. Yeah, Scry 3. If you're running a lot of bombs, I presume this will be awesome, but it's going to be more like Miracle that we had in Avacyn Restore. It's going to be a kind of a luck, wow, that ended the game, crazy, but it's not going to work on other times. I don't know if it's all that great. It's a hit or miss. It's going to be for fun. Relic of Abandon, it's supposed to be a combat trick, but it's a sorcery, so it's not really a combat trick. It doesn't give any trample or anything. I don't see it ending many games, personally. Rouse the Mob, this is an endgame card. The Strive gives 2/0 and trample, and the trample is really what matters. You play this, it's combat trick to end the game. Theoretically kill your opponent's stuff, but probably just end the game. Satyr Hoplite, he's the boring heroic 1/1 for 1 kind of thing. There's 1 for 1/2s with the same kind of stuff going on. I don't know, 1 for 1/1, it's kind of boring. Sigil Skink's kind of the same way. It's overcosted a little bit, and you have to wait the turn for the scry. Not that great. Spawn of Thraxus, huge bomb, awesome, great dragon art. If you get a foil, lucky you. But yeah, it's going to be a bomb unlimited, obviously. It's big, powerful, big effect. Spider-Mogus, I'm sure. The problem is, a lot of the prior tournaments I've seen with this card, with this kind of card, it's be awkward because our instant sorceries are not quite as powerful in this block. But I think it'll be more useful in other formats. It'd be hard to work it off here, I think. Starfall in this format, I think, is pretty solid. It's 3 to creature, 3 to player most of the time with the amount of stuff we have going on for 5, which is not bad at instant speed. Twin Flame, another end of the game card. You make tokens of big things or of big things you have for very cheap. It's going to be a win the game kind of card. And Wildfire Cerberus, to kind of wrap us off, its 3 body is kind of awkward, and it does take a couple turns to even go monstrosity. And when it goes into monstrosity mode, it's not even all that big. But it does do a mini board wipe. I guess it's okay against aggro, but it just seems weirdly costed. So those are my thoughts on the red for mostly for limited, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So we have green and then the wrap-up multicolor artifact land. So put your comments about red down below. I'd like to hear your guys' constructive criticism and your own thoughts on the format for red. If you enjoyed the video, tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.